Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back to the channel. Got a book chat video today. I'm going to dive into my weekly reading wrap up. Maybe talk a little bit about kind of my year in reading. A little reflection of 2021 maybe. It's January 2nd today. Happy New Year, everyone. I bet you had a nice and safe New Year. We had a good New Year. We don't ever really do much for New Year's. We are pretty low key. Stay inside, watch the ball drop in Times Square, that kind of thing. So yeah, we take it pretty easy. But yeah, it's a new year. So here's 2022, right? So we're just gonna jump right into it, and talk about the things that I finished last week, and a few things I've started already for this new year, and we'll get going. So I did finally finish The Croning by Laird Barron, and I ended up not being a fan of this. I was so disappointed. I just knew I was gonna love this. I just knew I was. I just knew it. I just did not. It started out good. The first chapter, is a bit of a, I don't even want to say what it is because but the first chapter got me interested. And then we fall into the rest of the story, which basically follows this man and his wife kind of at different periods of their lifetime. There's like a timeline of the 80s and then like more present day, and there's things that go back and forth, how possibly they're connected to that first chapter, which is something totally different. I don't even know how to explain this book because it is kind of strange, but it is also absolutely boring for a lot of it. There's this middle section, the middle like 80% is just this dude. I can't even remember his name. That's how Don. That's right. He used to be someone that with caving, and he was like into geology, and I don't even know. I say this, I'm bored talking about it, but but I didn't like him. I didn't like him as a character at all. He was, like I said, totally boring. I wasn't interested. His wife was kind of interesting, but she was kind of weird too. I don't know, guys. And then the last chapter was great. It ended fantastic. But this stuff all in the middle killed me. It killed me. It was so boring. And yeah, I was bummed. I didn't like this one. I will try this author again because he writes really well. The writing itself was fantastic. Sometimes he would put a sentence together and I was like, how did you put that together? That's pretty fantastic. It's just the story itself is just like, what is going, what? You know what I mean? I like weird, I like weird stories. I don't always have to know what's going on, but this I just didn't care. I gave zero damns about anything. So, and then by the time you get to the cool ending, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So yeah, kind of a bummer. So I don't know to suggest it or not. It definitely didn't work for me, but I don't know. Look it up if you could see maybe what it's about, and if you're interested. But boring. Snooze fest. And it sucks because look at that cool ass cover. Anyway, just the floor. Okay, so not very good. But then I dove into a couple of library books that I had checked out. First one was Heartstopper Volume 1. This is everything everyone has ever said about it. Super sweet, really lovely. It is this is a graphic novel, really simply illustrated, but also really nice too. Like this sort of one color tone here. So we've got these two dudes. They're in high school. So it's more of a YA type of story, and Now this guy, Charlie, is that his name? Charlie, yes. They go to like a private boys' school. And Charlie is out and proud at his school, and everyone knows that he's gay, right? But he soon becomes pals with Nick, and Nick invites him to play on the rugby team, and like they need another player, and they just kind of start hanging out, and Nick is maybe starting to have feelings, and he's kind of a bit confused about these feelings, but they're also like really lovely together, and they hang out. It is just super sweet and absolutely wonderful, actually. So this is, like I said, absolutely what I've always heard about. This was how sweet this is, and it's true. So I would recommend it if you need maybe a bit of a palate cleanser from some of, if like me, you read a lot of dark things, and if you just like a little sweet kind of love story. It was sweet. I'm gonna see if my library has the other volumes. I'm not sure if they do. This is the only one they had at the time, so I snagged that then, but we'll see. And then I dove into this huge chunky thing, because let me tell you what I did last week. I took the week off of work, and it was probably one of the best things I've ever did. It was really wonderful. We did a lot of nothing. By nothing, I mean we sat around and read books, and we watched things, and I stitched, and played games with my son, and sticker books, and we had a nice old time, and I got to relax and really just kind of reset for the new year, and it was wonderful, and I think I might do that every year now. But anyway, I finally sat down to this chunky thing. This is my favorite thing. It's Monster by Emil Harris, and this is volume 1. There is another volume as far as I can tell. I don't know if there's more than one, but this was fantastic. This was amazing, and I loved it. It is essentially a coming-of-age story about our main character. And what is her name? Lord, I have the worst with names. Karen. How do I forget Karen? That's my mother-in-law's name. But anyway, Karen. She's a young girl in here. I'd say 12-ish. And she lives with her mom and her older brother in 1960s. Is this Chicago? I want to say it's Chicago. And like I said, it's essentially a coming-of-age story following Karen and her family. And then some of the other characters are in the apartment building that she lives in, particularly an upstairs neighbor who towards the beginning of the book actually dies, and I'm kind of thinking, was she murdered, that kind of thing. And this is actually her here on the cover. I'm not remembering her name, of course, but anyway. And the thing about Karen is that she wishes that she were a monster, something like a wolf man or a vampire, so that she could kind of be strong and protect herself. She gets bullied a lot at school. Her mom gets really sick with cancer. There's a lot of things that are happening in this story. She's an artist. Her brother's also an artist, and they take these trips to the art museum, and there's some really cool scenes of like where she goes into some of the paintings and everything, and the artwork in here is phenomenal. And I love it. Looks like it's in like a ringed notebook, so there's the blue lines underneath. But I mean, Karen loves horror. She loves watching cheesy horror movies and things like that. So this is Karen, how she envisions herself here as this monster. This is her brother. So she wishes she were a monster. We also, like I said, this neighbor upstairs, we dive a little bit into her story, and she had a pretty tough upbringing and in Europe, and did end up in a concentration camp as a Jewish woman. Was a pretty sad character, but we learn a bit about her as well. And then there's some good old family secrets in here. I love family secrets, and so yeah, I don't want to say too much else, but this was just, look, it's stunningly drawn. I was blown away. Blown away. I took my time and just really looking at this art, and I could definitely see adding this one to the shelf because it would be worth just kind of looking through. I love she sort of the artwork that I'm telling you about. She would like recreate this in her drawing. It's amazing. So it definitely landed on a cliffhanger. So does my library have the second one? I don't know. I gotta find out. But this was amazing, and I'm so glad. So glad to have read this. It was fantastic. Really, a really wonderful story. Lots of drama and lots of heart, and it was good. It was good, guys. So, yeah, I liked that one. No! Everything's falling. My last book was Goblin by Josh Malerman. This would be my final book for 2021. I finished it on the 31st, maybe? I think so. Let me think. I think so. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Crystal. Get over. As this says, this is a novel in 6 novellas. So you do have 6 different stories that really, they all are very different. They tell a story about this based around Goblin, and Goblin is the town, the city that all of these stories are set in. And Goblin is a strange little town. Not a little town, it's a pretty decent sized place, but it's a strange place. It has a dark history that we discover as we're reading some of these stories. It has some weird goings on. It rains like 80% of the time. The rain itself is very, it makes everything very moody, of course. And yeah, for me, the main character throughout all of these stories was Goblin itself. And all of the stories, I mean, there was one that was just, for me, that was the one that was about the magician. But the rest of these, I honestly ended up really liking. And there's a prologue in here that sets it up wonderfully. And then the epilogue, which ties everything all together, and you see some things that are woven through all of the stories that are really kind of tied up with that epilogue at the end. So yeah, overall I ended up liking it. By the time I got to that one, I thought I was like, oh, maybe I won't like all of these, What was my favorite, though? I did like a mix-up at the zoo. I liked the last story, The Hedges. That one was really great. A Man in Slices. Yeah, they were, all about the Presto, about the magician. And I don't know what it was about that one that I just didn't really connect with, but yeah, so with that, I would recommend if you like the idea of different stories that are, the stories themselves aren't connected, but again, they're connected because they are in the same place, right? And if you want to learn more about Goblin itself, which seems like a pretty interesting place. So yeah, ended on a pretty high for the year, and I think I ended up giving this one 4 stars. So I liked it, and it was a good end to the year. So that was my final book for 2021. So the first things I have picked up for the first of the year here is She Said Destroy by Nadia Bulkin. Nadia Bulkin. I want to say Birkin for some reason. This was one of my sort of 12 for 12 challenge. This is a book that was recommended to me, and I have read the first story already, and this is a collection of short stories. I've read the first one, so I've made a start, and I can't wait to dive into more and see where we go. But I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be pretty fantastic. And I did make a start on Dracula, of course, by Bram Stoker. And this is for, of course, the read-along that Brad Proctor's doing over on his channel. And I've read one chapter, so I'm ahead of the game. And the first chapter was pretty good, actually. Kind of set the scene. Yeah, we meet Mr. Jonathan Harker as he's on his way to Count Dracula's castle. So that's where I'm at so far. I still have Burnt Coat on my audiobook. I didn't make any progress on it because I didn't listen to any audiobooks last year. Ooh, kicked my stand, sorry. So I'll pick that up probably again tomorrow once I'm back at work. So that's it. So let's do a few little things about 2021. I ended up reading 212 books. That is a lot of books. A lot of books. And it's funny because 103 of them were audiobooks. I listened to a lot of audiobooks this year. Working from home, you know, I burned through them while working at home this year. So that definitely pushed my numbers up. I think that's the most I've ever read. So that was pretty good. I did break down a couple of my genres. I read 82 horror books, 22 sci-fi books, 20 fantasy books, which was more than I thought. I didn't think I read very much fantasy this year. 38 just general fiction, historical fiction, you know, whatever. Only 5 romance, 15 nonfiction, 9 were dystopian, 5 classics. I could probably do better. 11 mystery thrillers. That doesn't quite add up to 212 because I've obviously missed something, but that's the gist of it. So 82 horror books, that's a lot of horror. I read a lot of horror this year. So I did read 15 middle grade books and 7 that were YA. I don't read a lot of YA. And I didn't end up reading more middle grade than I thought. So that was good. So yeah, overall I'm very, very happy with my reading year. I really enjoy the bulk of everything, to be honest. There's a few duds and a few things I can remember just like really not liking, or like The Croning. I did not get on with Addie LaRue. I ended up DNFing that one, but overall, I had a good year. I really liked the bulk of everything, so you can't really ask for much more. So yeah, 2021 was good, and I'm really looking forward to 2022. I think it's going to be another awesome reading year. So again, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that you have set your goals and you're ready to go for 2022. Thanks as always for watching. I always appreciate it. Like and subscribe and all that stuff if you want to. Leave me a comment about what your first book is for the year. I'd love to know. And I'll catch you in the next one.